The hanging of Balwant Singh Rajoana and its repercussions in Punjab and outside. The court has rejected the jailer's petition to put his hanging on hold. The court said it should go on as scheduled on Saturday, but the Akalis say he shouldn't be hanged, and they say they'll go to higher courts to appeal against this. They're also planning to meet the President and the Prime Minister. All this while the man on death row released a statement rejecting all political support. Rajaona says he needs no mercy.
For most of his 5 years on death row, Balwant Singh Rajoana lived in the shadows. A Babar Khalsa militant, he was convicted for the assassination of former Punjab Chief Minister Beant Singh in 1995 and given death in 2007. Rajoana's decisive headline moment came last week.
जी मैं कुछ नहीं आप मैं जो कुछ है जो सरकार समझती है क्योंकि ये सारे केस कोर्टों में चले गए हैं कोई सुप्रीम कोर्ट में चला गया है कोई सेशन जज में चला गया ये सब मैं जब को केस चले जाए उस पर हम नुक्ताचीनी नहीं कर सकते.
How can we hang somebody at this moment? And so keeping that in mind, we have clearly stated in the House that hanging will not take place.
Once today is over and we get all the facts and figures in, we will certainly look at them and then decide what went wrong.
Political parties across Punjab have united, calling for his clemency. As the court says, his death warrant must be executed on March 31st. Rajaona's own voice drowning in the clamour. In a letter from his jail cell addressed to the Sikh community, Rajaona says he wants no mercy. He wants to be a martyr. Also accused the ruling Shiromani Akali Dal's attempts to obtain him clemency as motivated.
ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਸੋਚ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਰਪਿਤ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਣੇ ਅਸੀਂ 17 ਸਾਲ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਪਦੇ ਵੀਰ ਦੇ ਹਰ ਪਲ ਹਰ ਸਾਹ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਿਆਗਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਸ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਮਰਪਿਤ ਆ.
The clamour began last week when the Akal Takht, the apex Sikh body, sent a diktat to the Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal asking him to ensure Rajaona is not executed. It also conferred on Rajaona the title of living martyr, a title Rajaona has predictably rejected. The SAD is moved by its own compulsions. It is seen as the champions of the Sikh cause and aligned to the right-wing Panthic politics. If it does not take up clemency, it fears alienating voters. Not just politically, also emotionally, because the Aam Aadmi in Punjab sees in Rajaona a hero, and his death may trigger violence as they mobilize for the martyr. Also fueling the demand, extremist parties pushed to the fringes in post-militancy Punjab, they have found in this cause a toehold to gain relevance in a right-wing politics now dictated by the SGPC and the Akal Takht. The issue has already acquired a larger emotional pitch that no one is able to ignore.
हमारे हाई कोर्ट में जजमेंट हरबंस सिंह वाली को कोर्ट करके हम हाई कोर्ट में जाएंगे और हाई कोर्ट से इंसाफ की मांग करेंगे.
We are going to approach the higher court and we are not going to act in haste as such, and because if you execute the warrant then it is difficult to bring him back to life. So that is an irreversible situation.
Flag marches, paramilitary forces. Punjab will continue to see a cover of khaki even on Wednesday when a number of Sikh organizations have called for a statewide bandh to push for the clemency of Balwant Singh Rajoana, and for a state government already feeling the heat of the issue, the court order will only add more pressure. In Chandigarh with camera person Ashwini, Ketki Angre for NDTV.
So at a time when there's red alert in Punjab, when Section 144 that bans assembly of large numbers of people has been imposed, we discussed the hanging of Rajaona when politics invades criminal justice. At this point, let me get my guests in. We have Naresh Gujral of the Shiromani Akali Dal joining us. We have H.S. Pulka in studio, author of a book on 84 riots and a lawyer who's also been consulted by SGPC on this case. We have Colin Gonsalves, human rights lawyer and someone who's been associated a lot with mercy petitions and cases like this. We also have Pinky Anand, another lawyer but also member of the BJP's legal cell. We want her perspective on what the BJP is thinking on this. G.N. Ratanpuri in studio with us from the National Conference, and Rahul Singh, writer and journalist, someone who's covered Punjab extensively. If I can start with you, Naresh Gujral. Today, Rajaona's letter is quite stark. He's very clear. He rejects the Shiromani Akali Dal's efforts. He says he accuses the Shiromani Akali Dal of playing politics. How does the party respond?
The party's main response, or rather the government of Punjab's main response today, is to ensure that peace, tranquility and the basic fiber of Punjab, the Hindu-Sikh unity, the feeling of brotherhood, that does not suffer. Punjab has suffered for years during the stage of militancy. We don't want to take Punjab back to those horrible days. The ground reality is that a large section of our youth is highly agitated over this issue. Tempers are running high. And we are scared that our neighbors would love to fish in these troubled waters.
Yes.
We want to keep peace and tranquility in Punjab at all costs.
Mr. Gujral, you say that, and perhaps a lot of the other political parties also fear that, which is why everyone, when we spoke to other politicians of other parties also in Parliament, they didn't want to make too much of a comment about this because they said it's a very sensitive issue. But what many people also point out is that since it's your government there, isn't it your responsibility to also ensure that, you know, the criminal justice system goes on? If the court has ordered hanging, it goes on, and also maintain any kind of law and order situation, control any kind of law and order situation that might arise as repercussions of that law being enforced?
First of all, let me tell you that this murder was committed in Chandigarh. And the prosecuting agency was CBI. So Punjab never really comes into the picture. After he was convicted, they send him either to Punjab, Haryana or Delhi. He happened to be sent to Punjab. So our government has no role to play in this.